muzzled car.
That's right, that's me.
I saw a friend of mine send it to me.
Hi there, and welcome back to the channel. This time we've come to Brooklands, the world's first purpose-built racetrack. This is the Lagonda Fete, and Lagonda owners had come from far and wide to show off their cars and to try their luck on the famously steep Brooklands test hill. Join me for all the fun of the fair, the ups, the downs, and of course, the picnics. The oldest Lagonda at the show was the 1224. First registered in 1924, this car's now over 100 years old, and like so many of them, it's been owned by various generations of the same family for years, perhaps just like Celia. Its name, the 1224, reflected its RAC tax rating of 12 and actual brake horsepower output of 24. It was advanced for its time, it had more instruments and was more comfortable. It was apparently quite a popular family car as a result, and I don't know quite how popular the dicky seat might have been with younger members of the family. Perhaps the first family hatchback. Who knows? Built only 3 years after the 1224 we've just been looking at, this is a 1460, which I believe was the first 2-litre model that Lagonda developed. Over the years, Lagonda had a huge amount of success with their 2-litre cars. This one had a completely new engine and also better steering and suspension, which was a mercy as in addition to its higher tax rating of 14, it also developed 60 brake horsepower. This was loads more than the previous model and well worth the extra tax in thrills alone.
Yeah, you can't get the pin back in.
By 1931 we were into the heyday of the 2-litre with the introduction of the supercharged version. Not surprisingly, there were a number of them here. Lagonda had been obliged to focus on the 2-litre in the interests of generating sales following the financial crash of 1929. Introducing a blown version of the 2-litre was an astute choice. It avoided the development costs of designing new models, but allowed for a marked improvement in performance. Supercharging was new and fashionable at the time, meaning customers would pay a premium for the cars. That they sounded fabulous and went like stink didn't hurt a bit. Let's have a listen. It was at this point we found ourselves in very august company indeed. This is PL7016, which is a turbocharged 2-litre with a racing pedigree and a very long history. 7016's first owner was a WA Cuthbert, who was a regular competitor at Brooklands. This wasn't an endeavour for the faint-hearted, and it's said he once averaged 84 miles per hour in 7016 on a lap from a standing start. Struth! The 7016 continued to appeal to racers and was later owned by Leslie Hawthorne, who's the father of Mike Hawthorne, Britain's first Formula 1 champion. The next owner had this picture of 7016 taken at Brooklands in 1937. Soup bowls on the front are the headlights, which had been turned up so they didn't create so much drag. Turns out Lagonda's famously wide-eyed expressions came at a price. So, after the 2 litres, there was a break in the action. So I took the opportunity to go and do a bit of exploring. Sections of the original track are still there, but the silence was almost eerie. It's a very, very atmospheric place. The racecourse was designed by a man called Hugh Locke King, and this is the finishing straight. The clubhouse away off to my left, though, was deliciously original, its design being based on a hotel which the Locke Kings used to own in Egypt. This is the famous paddock scoreboard. As motor racing became more and more glamorous in the 1920s, the Brooklands paddock became a key place to be seen in the social calendar. This Elizabethan-looking shed is the press hut. Sandwiched as they were between the pit lane and the clubhouse, they were in the perfect place to find out everything that was going on. There's even a phone box directly outside, so they could all go out and put their bets on, and perhaps, more importantly for their editors, phone their copy through. And sensing an opportunity to make a name for themselves in a new market, Various leading oil companies built these fuel pagodas which were dotted around the circuit. Some, like this one, have been restored to their 1920s splendour. Elsewhere on the course there was also a dedicated place for refuelling lady racing drivers. Now, between you and me, I'm also something of an aviation geek, and Brooklands has a rich aviation history. They have everything from the world's first ever booking office right up to Big Bird herself.
We have clearance, Clarence.
And if you're thinking this all looks like a great day out, well, firstly you'd be right, and secondly I have some good news for you. There's another one of these on the 10th of August 2025 at Brooklands, so I'll add a link to the description. I might even see you there. And now it was time for the big fellas, the 3 and 4.5 litres. Dating from 1932, this is a 3 litre drop head coupe, and I think it was built by the Carlton Carriage Company. Their specialism was building drop head coupe bodies for some very refined cars. These included Bentleys, Rolls-Royces, Daimlers, and of course Lagondas, so this car was in some very grand company. I think it might be one of only 2 remaining. Quite a find. Goes uphill nicely as well. We go forward a couple of years and up an engine size for the next 2 cars, which both feature the Meadows engine. This 4.5 litre engine was way more powerful than anything that Lagonda had used before. It gave them their famous Le Mans win in 1935. Winning Le Mans was an amazing achievement, but it wasn't enough to save Lagonda, and the company was bought by Alan Good. They carried on building and selling the 4.5 litre, but from this point forward it was known as the LG. And these cars from 1936 are both excellent examples. The Lagonda name was bought in 1947 by Aston Martin, who produced a number of very handsome cars, as you can see from this 1954 3 litre. Here it comes! The youngest car at the show was this Aston Martin Lagonda by some years. Known affectionately as the Wedge, Aston Martin built these in one form or another from 1976 all the way through to 1990. This one appears to date from 1985, and despite its number plate, seemed to get up the test hill with no trouble at all. I thought though I'd finish with this, which lives at Brooklands on loan from a Mrs. S. Brooke. It is quite literally a museum piece, but it glided up the test hill with no trouble at all. Built in 1934, this car is a replica of one of the cars that raced at Le Mans in 1935. It's an M45 with what was at the time the new Meadows engine. There was just time for one final vroom. And then, somewhat reluctantly I think, the Brooklands Lagonda was put to bed. I found her a few minutes later, safely back on display. It's more than impressive to be able to simply start up an exhibit and then drive it straight up a 1 in 4 hill without a hitch. Well done, Brooklands. And so, from a very atmospheric Brooklands, goodbye. If you've enjoyed this video, please take a moment to like and subscribe. It's free and it really helps.